as we introduce to you the visionary creator of Becoming the Best You movement. I am so proud to be a part of this movement, but this isn't my vision. This was the vision of the professor of change. She is the person that is the epitome of what becoming the best you is all about, because she had those bad days like we've all had. She's had a number of bad days where she had to sit in literal solitude because the bad days were so bad she couldn't do anything else. She'd been put into a position where she had to think about her life, and was she really being the best version of herself? And she took that time to discover herself, rediscover herself, reevaluate what was important to her, and she used that time to make a change. Somebody put in the feed, make a change, because that's what happens when you become the best version of you. You make a change, not only in your life, but subsequently in the lives of others. And that's what Brenda Ringwood is doing now with this BTBY movement. She is the professor of change, which means she is certified, she is qualified, she is more than established in this area of change to share with you what it means to become the best version of yourself. She's been an entrepreneur since high school. And just like the rest of us, she's had some hard times. She's survived cancer and other life struggles. And she's a biologist who turned her challenges into a need for change. Now, amongst being this change agent, she's a speaker, she's an artist, she's a salesperson, she's a trainer. She does so many hats that, I can't keep up with which hat she's wearing on any given day. But that's what life is all about when you are the professor of change. And she's going to speak to you now from the heart to let you know what it takes to change your life and become the best version of you. So let's give a warm BTBY welcome to the professor of change, Miss Brenda Ringwood.
Thank you, Terrence. Many hats, we all wear them, and we don't even know that we're doing it because it just kind of happens. So, you're in high school, you graduate, you get married, you're become a parent or not, or an aunt and uncle. All these things start to change for you, and you don't have control over it. So you just got to put that hat on and go with it. And that is exactly what I had to do. There was a time in my life where things were just fabulous. I had the house and the company, the marriage, the kids, the cars. From the outside, things looked pretty stinking good. And you know what? I really did have it good. I did. But I was miserable and I was unhappy because I was doing a job that I hated. And that is horrible for your self-esteem. When I was in high school, I didn't have the self-esteem that I have now. I was actually very insecure. And people say, what? You were 100 pounds. You had the body assets. You had the brains. You had everything that people wanted. But you see, I didn't, because I was living for other people. I didn't have what I wanted. And that is what becoming the best you is all about. Becoming the best version of you, to live the life that you want to live with the family of your picking. And when I say that, you can't choose your family, right? But you can choose who you associate with, and how you spend time with them, and at what level that you spend with them, even with family. And I had to learn that nobody was going to make a way in life for me. I had to do it by myself. And I did it. And I was very successful at it. But the very thing that I was successful at also destroyed me. Did you hear me? Because it wasn't what I wanted to be doing. And it gave me the opportunity, and hear this, the opportunity to sit in a jail cell. Had that opportunity not been handed to me, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing right now. I wouldn't be helping others find their purpose, helping others to become the best version of themselves, because see, it had to start with me. And my actions were horrible. And it landed me in a spot that turned my life around. And it doesn't always work that way for some people. Some people are in and out, in and out. The hate becomes so strong that their heart becomes hard. And mine did. It did come hard. It was very hard for a very long time. But I had to change that too. See, I had to change everything. I had to change from the inside out. The inside out. Because if you change on just the outside, and that's what people see, it's not true change. But when you change on the inside, that reflects on the outside. Now you're truly starting to change. And Terrence said something in February at our in-person event in Kansas City, that the tongue in our mouth doesn't always match the tongue in our shoes, that we have two tongues. And that was me. I was not matching. My walk and my talk were not matching. And Sabrina just said it. Her walk matches her talk. And I had to reevaluate and say, I need that to happen to me. I need my walk and my talk to be the same. I need my actions to match what's coming out of my mouth. Inside is where that has to start. Not only does it start inside, it has to be practiced. You have to consciously think about how you're going to change your life. So I got to thinking, how is this going to happen for me? Because I've just ruined my life. I have literally landed myself in a 4-year prison. How am I going to come back from this? And then I got to thinking, come back. Why do I need to come back? Because coming back means that you're going back to a place that where you already were at. I don't want to be in that spot anymore. You know, we want our health to come back. We want other things to come back. We like people to come back. But I don't want the comeback spot where I was at. Does that make sense? I want to be better than that. I want to do better than that. I want to have better than that. So I want to come back past that. So sometimes you have to go through where you were to get to where you're going. You also have to use your past as the stepping stone to get to the next level. Sometimes that next level is as simple as the next relationship. So I got to thinking, I still have my experience. I still have my knowledge. I still have my education, but I got to start over. And what is that going to look like? It's hard. At 50 years old, I had to start over. I walked out of a jail cell at 50 with nothing. We absolutely had nothing because we lost it all in a house fire. So I literally had the clothes that I went into jail with on my back. That was it. I had to start from scratch. Not only did I have to start from scratch, I had to do it from a very unhealthy place, both physically, my health was horrible, and then mentally. I was in a deep state of, I can't do this. I don't want to do this. What will people think? What are they saying? I was embarrassed and I was ashamed. Didn't even want to go out to eat because I might run into somebody that knew me. I had to get over that. I had to get over it because I wasn't that person anymore. I was just at an event where one of the speakers says, I changed my address. I don't live there anymore. I have a whole new world and it's mine. I just got to figure out, what do I need to do to get there? And the stepologist, Regina Platt, always says we're trying to get to there. There is a place that we want to be. Are you there? Or are you still trying to get there? And see, the question is, I don't ever want to be there. I want to always be trying to get there because my destination is always going to change. What I'm doing in life is always going to change. I'm going to always try to be better. I'm better than I was yesterday. I'm better than I was last week. And I'm better than I was a year ago. Definitely better than I was 4 years ago, even 10 years ago. But why did I need to change? I owed it to myself. I owed it to my family. And I owed it to the people that I associated with. So I started thinking, what is your background? You know this. You're in sales. You've been doing sales all of your life. In fact, you were selling. I'm a serial entrepreneur. I was a serial entrepreneur by the time I was 21 and didn't even know it. My dad would tell me, get the yard mowed. You didn't mow the yard. Get out there and mow that yard. I'm not paying you $10 to not mow the yard. I got the yard mowed. I hired the boy next door or the boy up the street or the boyfriend. I'd pay them 5, I'd get 10. My dad came home one day and said, "Who's that boy mowing the yard?" to my mom. And my mom said, "Well, you told her to get the yard mowed, so she did." "Well, I'm going to go pay him." And she says, "No, you're not. You told her to get the yard mowed. You didn't tell her how. You need to give her some credit for what she's doing." So when I met my husband, Dennis, he mowed the yard for free. And today, 35 years later, he's still mowing that yard for free. But that's where it started. So I decided, what do I know how to do? And how can I apply that to my life that can still make a difference in others? So we started the Becoming the Best You movement. And I say we because it truly is a team. There is a team of us that do this. Nobody can do things 100% by themselves. And you know what? I don't want to. We're better together. Friends matter, relationships matter. And see, I had ruined a lot of relationships. I was lying, I wasn't being honest even with myself, and it landed me in places that I just couldn't get out of. And I was digging that hole deeper and deeper and deeper, and that hole was being filled with water, and it was turning to mud, and it was caking on me, and it was just pulling me down. God happened, and he reached down and he yanked me out. And when I was out, doors were open for me almost 3 years earlier than they should have been because my heart had changed. My mindset had changed. My relationship with Christ had changed. And God opened those doors. He opened those doors to let me out because, see, I had a purpose. I was supposed to be doing something for Him. And that's where I messed up. I wasn't. I was doing stuff for me. So I get out and I get my health under control and I decide, okay, I'm going to speak. I'm going to get back into doing some of the things that I enjoy doing, that I've been doing for many, many years. And then COVID hits. Then the virtual world happened. So I started doing little shows on becoming the best version of yourself with people who had been incarcerated or with wardens of prisons or with correctional officers, with law enforcement, with family members of those who had been incarcerated to get the story out there of the good, the bad, the ugly of incarceration. Because people need to see the truth of it. People need to see it is definitely a needed system. However, the system is flawed. And that's a whole different conversation. But I wanted to just get the stories out there that, you know what? People who have come back into society, they have a value. They can still make a difference. And look at yourself like that. Sometimes you don't have to go to prison to be incarcerated. I was just talking to Erin Page about this the other day, and she's going to be coming up here a little bit after, I think after Velton, she's up. But let me tell you what she said. A lot of people are in prison because of their mindset. Their mindset keeps them incarcerated. It stops them because they think they're not good enough. They think they don't have a value. People are going to laugh at me. What will they say? My spouse won't let me do that. Whatever it is, it's just an excuse because you see, if you really want it, you're going to do it. So I got to thinking, okay, I can do this. So that led to other things, that led to other opportunities. And I was on some other virtual shows because of it. And that's where I met Terrence. And I met a lot of these other folks that have just really embraced the Becoming the Best You movement. So I want to give you some tips on becoming the best you. You see, people think that this is just personal growth. But why can't it be both? Why can't you grow your business with these same concepts? I want to talk to you about the sales process because selling is part of becoming the best you. We're all involved in sales. You're probably saying, I'm not a salesperson. I don't sell. I don't want to sell. That's not the job I want. But you're involved in sales. You're either buying or you're selling. I know we all buy groceries. We all buy a car. We all buy clothes. We buy things. So you're part of the sales process, like it or not. So why do you buy a certain item? What was the marketing behind that product that made you buy it? Or why did you hire a certain company because of their services? What sold you on it? So, part of becoming the best you is sales, like it or not. We sell ourselves every day. as a speaker, we have to sell ourselves on the stage. We have to sell you what we are talking about. We also sell our friends. And the sales process can be a lot like perception. You ever bought something where it looked really good and the labels were good and it was the most expensive thing, so you thought it was going to be the best thing. And then you get it and the product was absolutely horrible or the taste was disgusting. But you bought that product because of the way it was marketed. We tend to treat our relationships that same way. Sometimes we're phony. Sometimes we want them to believe that we're something that we're not. Sometimes we want to mask the problems instead of embracing who you are and using them to try to get better. So our perceptions become our reality because people perceive things about you, but they're not necessarily true, just like selling a product or a business. See, I like the motto overproduce and undersell, not oversell. And when you can't do that, your word has to be good because sometimes things happen where the product isn't going to be what you promised. So you better be prepared to give a refund, make it right. And that also works in our relationships. Sometimes what we've sold them in a personal relationship isn't what they got. And sometimes we have to give a refund on that. And what does that mean? It means you got to say, I'm sorry. It means you got to say, will you forgive me? Not only is forgiveness to be asked, you also have to practice it. So let's get back to selling. Everybody has a job, right? Because we got to make money. You got to have an income. You got to live your life. What are you doing right now in your job that is reflected around sales? Some of you are probably saying, I don't need to sell at my job. I'm just a paper pusher. Okay. You had to sell yourself to get that interview. When you went in for that job interview, you had to sell yourself. When you put that resume together, you had to sell yourself. You had to put something on there or say something that was going to make you stand out above everybody else that was applying for that job. That works the same way when you're self-employed. You see, for me, I've been self-employed since high school. I have hundreds of bosses, probably thousands of bosses in my lifetime. But every single time that I went in to bid something or to solicit business or even asked if they needed a speaker, I was applying for a job. I was being interviewed. When you're being interviewed, now you got to sell yourself. So, do you know how to sell yourself? Do you know how to sell what you really are? And then, in order to do that, you have to know what you want before you can even sell yourself. So, let's say you want to do a career change. Do you know what you want to do? Do you know the type of people that you want to associate with? Sometimes you need a friendship change or a circle change, an environment change. But it's hard to do that if you don't know the type of change that you want. So I'm going to talk a little bit about communication because, see, communication is huge with sales. Communication is huge in becoming the best version of yourself. And it's huge in every relationship that you have, personal, professional. Communication is key. So let's just say that you're applying for that job, whatever that job is, and you don't communicate the right things and you don't get hired. And you wonder why the person that you just were sitting in the lobby with got that job over you because they didn't seem to have what you have. Well, they don't know you have it if you don't tell them you got it. They don't know you have that experience if you don't show them that experience. So the number one thing in sales, so especially if you want to be an entrepreneur, communicate who you are, communicate what you do, and communicate what you have. And then allow them to see that you actually know what it is that you're doing. Because you can say it, but if you don't do it, then it's a lie, right? So let's talk about communication. Communication is how you show up. It is how you live your life. It's what you look like, it's how you act, and it's how you present yourself. So you have somebody that's coming in, you're the boss, and you're hiring a new receptionist. This person shows up in sweatsuits that are all wrinkled. The hair is in a ponytail. It's crooked. Fingernails are dirty. And the first thing that that person is going to say is, wow, That's not what I want representing my office. So they might actually sit and listen to you, but they've already made their first impression and their perception of you by the way that you looked. What they didn't realize, however, is that you probably were the best person for the job, but on your way there, you had a flat tire and you tore your skirt while you were changing it. So you had to put on the clothes that you had in your workout bag that were in there from 2 days ago to show up to make this interview on time. And your hands were dirty because you were changing this tire. But they didn't see any of that. They saw what was in front of them. So my point to you is if you would have said, hey, look, I'm here, I'm on time, this is what's happened to me. Please look past this and look to the inner self. Maybe they would have given you that job, but you didn't explain to them why you were there in the state that you were there. Or you showed up all prim and proper and you looked that part, man. You looked that part, but there wasn't a thing going on up here. You looked really good, but what was up here that was coming out here was not getting you that job. So you need to find that happy median that what you look like is also who you are. That way you don't have to pretend. You don't have to pretend. You get that? When you're genuine, you can sell yourself. You can sell the product that you're selling because it's the truth. And when it's the truth, you tend to believe in it. You tend to believe in it. So communication is key. And what you look like, unfortunately, sometimes is the perception of what people have of you. And that's not good. And you know that saying that says you have to look the part? Perception makes that true. I once was speaking and my background was janitorial. So I dressed up like I was the maintenance gal. And I was walking around the room. I had the keys, I had the t-shirt that said the company name on it, the khaki pants. And, I looked like I was there. I pulled a trash can out and took the trash out, brought in a new bag. So they really thought I was the maintenance person, right? Until they called me to speak. And I got up in my janitorial gear. They were like, what? And I said, for those of you who said good morning to me, thank you. For those of you who stubbed me, shame on you. For those of you who carried on a conversation with me, you're the ones I'm talking to right now because they accepted me for who I was. So when I got up there and shared my story about being the janitor and the way that people treated me during my life, in my career of that, they had to put their own self into check, their own perspectives back inside to say, maybe I need to stop judging the book by its cover. So you see what I'm saying? How you show up is how they're going to perceive you. So show up in your true authentic self. If you're going to wear your sweatsuit every day, then that's what you show up in your job interview. If you're a person that likes your suit and tie and that's what you dress in every day, then show up like that. There's nothing wrong with that. But what is wrong is showing up to be the person that you're not. And that's where I'm going with this. Always show up to be the person that you are, not the person that you're not. And then you don't have to worry about things later. So, perception is not always the truth, is what I'm saying. It's not always the truth. So then the second part of sales, you have communication, but then you got the follow through. And this is in any relationship, you got to follow up with them too. The relationship can't always be one-sided. It can't always be about you. You need to listen to what they have to say. You need to listen to what they're going through. And you need to be that friend that can listen and then offer them some advice. Same thing in sales, same thing in a company. If people don't know what you do and they forget about what you do because there's no follow through, they're not going to buy from you again. And, it was my experience when I was selling real estate. My agents would say, how do you get all of this business? And I would tell them, it's my follow through. You see, they bought this house and they had one child. So they think a couple years they're not going to need another house. But the reality is she was already pregnant with second child. By year 3, they were outgrowing this house. I stayed in contact with them. I emailed them. I sent them cards. I called them. And when that happens, I stayed in their mind. So when they were ready to buy another house, I was able to resell the house that I sold them and find them another house. Where an agent in my office got looked over because he didn't stay in connection with his clients. And Susie down the street's cousin just started real estate and she's been talking about her, so they went with her. You have to do the follow through. And in a relationship, you have to follow through. You have to let people know that you care about them, that they are important, that they matter. Don't just call them when you want something. Call them to tell them they're special. Call them to say hello, or how about I love you. Love is huge. Follow through is going to get you anywhere that you need to go. So you can say, I want to do this, but if you don't follow through with it, you're never going to do this. If you want to lose weight, if you don't follow through with the process to lose weight, with the diet, the exercise, the change of mindset, you're not going to lose that weight. Then you're just saying things. But when you follow through with what you say and you follow through with what you do, you're going to achieve what it is you're trying to sell. So let me go on with the next thing. Do you have confidence? Confidence. We think we do, right? But you need to have it. You need to be secure in what you're doing, especially if you're a speaker or you're a public figure or you're in sales. You have to be confident in what you're doing, because if you're not going to be successful at it. And let's talk about the word success. Success isn't always about money. We tend to make it about money. But if you've met one goal, I'm going to go out and I'm going to make 10 new leads this week, and you connected with 10 new people, then that was a success. That was a successful plan and you achieved it. So start making your successfulness about things that you can actually reach. That way you're not going to get discouraged because you said, I'm going to set a goal of meeting 10 new leads, and you did it. But if you set it for 100 new leads and you fell short at 90, you might be a little bit disappointed in yourself. So make the successful goal at a goal that you know that you can achieve. And then when you do that, you can start increasing things and start adding value to what it is that you're doing. So then I want to talk to you about timidness, meekness. There's nothing wrong with that, because you can't really change if you're bashful or you're shy, but you can still have confidence. See, there's a difference. You can still be confident in what you know. You can still be confident in who you know, and you can still be confident in how you're going to perform. And in business, in sales, in a relationship, friendships, whatever it is, that is key. Confidence. Confidence is huge in a relationship because they need to know that you're confident about being their friend. They need to know that you're confident about that relationship, that support is going to be there. Same thing if they're buying a product or a service. Your confidence is what's going to sell them on that. And here's the other thing. Don't be an egotistic jerk when it comes to your relationships. That is a turnoff. There is a difference between being confident and being egotistic. And then you need to be secure in what you stand for. Just like my faith, I believe that Christ is the king of my kingdom. And through him, he allows me to rule my kingdom. And I talk about that in several different sessions. But I have to be secure in that faith, or I'm going to come across that I can be persuaded easily. I can change my mind. But if you're in security in what you believe, your foundation is solid. And that's what you need. You need that solid foundation. So I'm secure in who my Savior is. I am secure in why I do the things that I do. Therefore, I can't have somebody else coming into my life trying to change my mind on what it is I want for my life. The naysayers and the negative people are going to come in and they're going to try to say, I don't think you should be doing that. Maybe, have you thought about doing it this way? And then you got the friends that say, you know what, that's a really good idea. But have you thought about maybe doing it this way? You see the difference in that? And because you are secure in what you want, you can back up why it is that you want that. So then I want to talk to you about increasing your sales. So And I'm doing this both for relationships and for business relationships. But before we get into increasing your sales, I want to talk about the word ship. Do you know what it means? Everybody thinks it's a boat. Well, actually, a ship is bigger than a boat, but it's not even that. Ship is the state of something, the condition of. So you have relationship, you have flagships, like a flagship office, which means it's supposed to be the best one, right? Or the first one. You have stewardship, stewardship, responsibility. That's what that means. How you handle your money, how you handle your relationships, how you handle your life. We have leadership, the condition of your leadership. The condition of is what that word means. So, what is the condition of your relationships? What is the condition of mentorships that you have? So, do you mentor or are you being mentored? And what is the relationship there? What is the ship? What is the status of that? So, when you don't know your ship, you don't know what your condition is, how can you go out and sell it? How can you go sell yourself? And then how can you change yourself? So you see, when you change yourself from the inside out, you don't have to sell yourself. Your actions do it for you. You have as Sabrina says, you have a passion for her word for this was what passive income. So you have a passion for passiveness. It just flows and it happens. Did you hear that? You get passiveness that just happens. You don't have to effortly do anything anymore because you are who you are and it's seeping out. See, when you're not happy with yourself and you're not willing to change from the inside out, that stuff's still going to seep out. And the rottenness and the evilness and all of that's going to seep and it's going to ooze and it's going to show. But when you have true change and you are living your life in the purpose that you want to live, then that's what flows out. And it's like honey. It's soothing, it's sweet, it's nourishing, natural. So, what kind of ship do you have in your life? What are you oozing? Is what I want to know. So, let's talk about getting out there. Networking is very important, very, very important. I don't really like doing it all the time, but it's a necessity because, again, how do you expect people to know what you do if you don't tell them? So, networking is huge in that. And I tell people get involved in networking events, go to events, go get that self help that you need. Get into the membership of something that's going to benefit you, either a chamber of commerce or a business club or a Toastmasters, whatever it is, because they're going to support you. And then if you do your job and they like what you do and you're delivering because the ship of what you are selling is in good shape, that business is going to come. Those relationships are going to come. And then get it out there on social media. Social media, it can be a bad thing and it can be a good thing, but it's what you do with it that's going to matter. So let everybody know what you do. If they don't know what you do, how are they going to hire you to do it? And then you're going to get discouraged and you're going to say, well, it just didn't work for me. Well, it didn't work because you didn't tell anybody. And if you did tell people, if you weren't secure in it and you didn't have the confidence, why would they buy from you? So think about that. Think about that. So you can increase your sales through marketing, through email, through social media, through networking, through current customers and clients, and through current friendships. Then your friends, if you're confident and you're secure and your tongues match, will refer you. And when that happens, man, you're golden. You're golden because they're doing it for you. Now you've got the passive sales going on that you've already done the work for, and now other people are doing it for you. Isn't that what you want? You never have to worry about being a different person. I tell people sometimes we're a different person at work than we are at home, and we're even different at church. But what if you could be that same person in all three places? That's who you should strive to be. Be you no matter what, wherever you are, however you are, and who you are. Do it. So I also want to talk to you about connecting. we are creatures of habit. So we tend to go to the same old places, same old connections, same old things that are familiar. But what if you could start changing something each time you go that's different? Because that differentness might make a difference in your life for the better. It can also go the other way, but only if you let it. You learn what not to do again. But then I want to talk to you about investing in yourself. Everybody says, I can't afford it. Investing in yourself could be as simple as reading a book, an ebook, a used book, whatever. It could be getting a friend and sitting down and just shooting some ideas. But investing in yourself also means taking the time to see what it is that you need, taking the time to focus on that and then applying what you've just focused on. Because see, you can read about it and you can even go to an event and hear about it. But if you don't apply it and practice it, then you've just wasted your money. But when you apply it and you practice it and you truly change what it is that you're doing, how you're responding, how you're talking, what you're doing, now you've just invested in yourself. And that investment's going to pay off because your family's going to see the change. Your employees are going to see the change. Your employer, your relationships, everybody's going to see that change in you. And then they're going to want what you got. How many things have you wanted that other people have? And I'm not talking about things like cars and house and status. Right here. How many people want that peace, that happiness, that mindset? That's what self growth is all about. That is what investing in yourself will do. And that peace of mind, it's not worth any amount of money because you can't buy it. You can create it and you can have it, but you can't buy it. And you can't give it to anybody else. They have to want to do it themselves. So I want to go back and talk about communication. How are you communicating? And is it successful? Because if it's not successful, then you need to learn a different way. So how do you communicate? Are you a yeller and a screamer at home? Do you threaten and then don't follow through? Do you say you're going to do something and then not do it? Well, who wants to work with anybody like that? Ask yourself that. Are you one of those people? Because we don't like dealing with those people. So why would you want to be one of those people? That works the same way in your job, works the same way in sales. And then I tell people, quit texting and emailing all the time. How about pick up the phone or go in and visit with that person in person? Let them know they matter. It's harder to get fired if they like you. It's easier for them to hire you if they like you. And they're going to hire you if they see you in person over the person that's just emailing all the time. So your actions is what's going to sell yourself. Your actions is also going to put you in the circles that you want. And your actions is also going to get some people out of your life that need to be out of your life. But the point that I'm trying to make is, are you ready to do it? Are you ready to make those necessary changes? Because people need to be cut out of your life. They do. And sometimes it's our families. It is our family that holds us back. And we love them, and you cannot pick your family, and you can't change your family. But I will tell you this. You can associate with them differently. You can love them, you can celebrate with them, but you don't have to share all your hopes and dreams with them. You don't have to tell them everything. Those moments are for the people in your circle who support you, who want to see you grow, who want to see you succeed, and they're going to help you do it. Because, jealousy is a very bad thing, very bad thing. And I'm going to go back to Cain and Abel in the Bible, first murder that's documented, right, that we know of. And Cain kills Abel. Abel is doing what he's supposed to be doing. He's giving his stuff up at the altar, his first fruits. He's giving the Lord what he's asked him to do. And Cain's not. And Cain is seeing all the favor that Abel has, and he gets jealous. And he's jealous, and he's jealous, and it's festering, and now hatreds come into play that eventually leads to murder. Don't let that be part of your life. Let the jealous people go because they're just going to pull you down. I'm going to clap for you until it's my turn. I'm going to help you until it's my turn. And then when it is my turn, I'm going to reach down and pull you up. That's what it is about. That is what selling is. That is what relationships are. And that is how you change your life. Another way that you can get some self-help is through coaching, attending seminars, webinars, in-person events, self-help books. Go out there and get educated. If there's something that you want to do in your life that you need to change to do, you can do it. If you want to be that doctor, then go on and get that degree. I don't care if you're 50. I don't care if you're 60. Who cares what the classmates are saying? I went back to school at 32 years old, was probably one of the oldest ones in the class. And I didn't graduate till I was 40 with my biology degree. It took me 8 years because I had life. I had 4 kids. I was married. I had businesses, but I did it. And it took me 8 years. I didn't let them stop me. In fact, my counselor, when I first went in, told me most people your age that come in here to start in a scientific field, maybe you should go into, an easier field. They don't succeed. They don't finish. They drop out. And it's because of what he told me that I did finish, because I wasn't going to let him win. See, he already counted me out before I'd even started. He was already using that against me before I had even started. I hadn't even picked my classes yet. But I did finish. And I did get an apology because I went to a smaller school. So he was over some of the biology department and he was seeing my process. And at the end, when I was graduating, he said, I owe you an apology. I didn't think you were going to do it. So see, how you communicate with people can also hurt them. Had I had been weak-minded, had I not been secure in what I wanted, had I not been confident, I maybe would have let his comment distract me and say, maybe he's right. I can't do this. No, I can do this. You can do this. You can do anything you want in your life. You can have anything you want in your life, but you got to take that first step. Because if you don't take that step, you're going to be stuck. You're going to be stuck. You're going to be stuck there forever. That mud's going to cake on you. It's going to continue to weigh you down. Get off that couch and go to work. Quit making excuses. You want that new job, go get it. You want new relationships, go find them. You're in a bad spot where people are hurting you, change your mindset and get out of it. Get out of it. Don't be lazy about it. Terrence, I'm going to have you come back up for a minute because I got a question for you.
Welcome back to the hot seat.
What are you doing right now to make a difference in your own life?
Well, what am I doing right now to make a difference in my own life? We have a speaker coming up a little later. That is you're the professor of change. He is the doctor of helping you discover yourself. And that's what I'm doing on a daily basis.
Mm-hmm.
I'm constantly in discovery mode and taking a little bit of what you said. How are my ships? Is my ship safe? Is my relationships ship safe? Am I working on being the leader of one so that I can be the leader of many? So I'm in that discovery mode. I'm finding myself so that I can, as I talk about, go from good to better to best each and every day, because every day is a new day to do it a little bit better than you did it the day before. And you never want to just get lost on your laurels. You just don't want to just lean on the person you were the yesterday, because you're always in a race. As long as you have breath in your body, you're always in a race with yourself to be the best version of yourself. So that's what in walking the walk and talking the talk, I'm making sure my two tongues are doing what I say they should do.
And you see how I incorporated people who have made a difference in my life into my conversation. I talked about what you spoke about. So I was learning at an event that I was putting on about the two tongues in my possession, right? And then I'm listening to Aaron talking about how you can be incarcerated in your brain. You don't have to be incarcerated physically, but it stops you and it keeps you locked away. There's so many different things. Dr. Ruben West talks about hanging out with zeros and ones.
Yeah.
0 times what is what? Nothing.
Yeah.
You're never going to multiply yourself. Same way with the one. But then the thing I really like about what he says is, are you that 0 or 1? Are you the person holding somebody else back? Even yourself. Even yourself. So I just want to know what you are doing in your life right now, because everybody needs to do something to make a better situation for themselves. Every
Absolutely, absolutely. And that's why we are doing this master class, because it's important to not only remind you, the viewers, but it's also important to have that reminder ourselves, because there's a saying that says if you're the smartest person in the room, you need to go
better
to
leave.
another room.
Right.
Yeah, you
Mhm.
need to go to another room, because there's always something else for you to master. There's always another class that you can be a part of to master becoming this best version of who you are. And I thank you for being the professor of change that took us to class over these last 45 minutes and gave us a course on how we can be ship shape and recognizing that sales is a process, and we are part of that process each and every day. Yeah, I got a page full of notes here, and I've been posting in the room, and people are agreeing with you. Jeff Markinet said, "Boom, that's what's up." We had other comments. I really loved how you broke down the definition of ship as being the state of, and
Mhm.
it's important before we can see where we are. We have to define the measures by which we determine where we are. And if we can't determine that, if we can't define the measurements that we're going to use to figure out where we are in this best you journey, we're never going to get there. Someone
Right.
way smarter than me said, if you stand for nothing, you'll fall for anything. So I love how you had taught that to us today. So, and I don't know if you have some more nuggets to share with us. I don't want to take away from the rest of your time. You tell me.
You know what? I might just reveal some things as we go on today, but sales is key. We are always selling. And people say, oh, sales is just a business thing. It's not. It's not.
No. No,
Mhm,
I am a firm believer that you are the product well before you talk about any of your products.
mhm.
And for the purposes of today's conversation, that doesn't just determine for the people that are watching us who are in business. In the personal development field, you are still you
Mhm.
before you tell me anything about
That's
you.
right.